And today we continue Lewis Carroll's Phantasmagoria with Canto 5, called Byckerment. Don't they consult the victims, though, I said. They should, by rights. Give them a chance, because you know the taste of people differs so, especially in sprites. The phantom shook his head and smiled. Consult them? Not a bit. It would be a job to drive one wild, to satisfy one single child. There'd be no end of it. Of course you can't leave children free, said I, to pick and choose. But in the case of men like me, I think mine host might fairly be allowed to state his views. He said, it really wouldn't pay. Folk are so full of fancies. We visit for a single day, and whether then we go or stay depends upon the circumstances. And though we don't consult mine host before the thing's arranged, still if he often quits his post or is not well-mannered ghost, then you can have him changed. But if the man's a host like you, I mean a man of sense, and if the house is not too new, why, what is that, I said, to do with ghost convenience? A new house does not suit you now. It's such a job to trim it. But after 20 years or so, the wainscotings begin to go, so 20 is the limit. To trim was not a praise I could remember having heard. Perhaps, I said, you'll be so good as tell me what is understood exactly by that word. It means to loosen all the doors, the ghost replied and laughed. It means drilling holes by scores in all the skirting boards and floors to make a thorough draught. You'll sometimes find that one or two are all you really need, to let the wind come whistling through, but here there'll be a lot to do, I faintly guessed, indeed. If I'd been rather later, I'll be bound, I added, trying most unsuccessfully to smile, you'd have been busy all this while trimming and beautifying. Why, no, said he, perhaps I should have stayed another minute, but still no ghost that's any good without an introduction would have ventured to begin it. The proper thing, as you were late, was certainly to go, but with the roads in such a state, I got the nightmare's leave to wait for half an hour or so. Who's the nightmare? I cried, instead of answering my question. Well, if you don't know that, he said, either you never go to bed or you've a grand digestion. He goes about and sits on folks and eat too much at night. His duties are to pinch and poke, and squeeze them till they nearly choke. I said it serves them right. And folk who sup on things like these, he muttered, eggs and bacon, lobster and duck and toasted cheese, if they don't get an awful squeeze, I'm very much mistaken. He is immensely fat, and so well suits the occupation. In point of fact, if you must know, we used to call him years ago the mayor and corporation. The day he was elected mayor, I know that every sprite meant to vote for me, but did not dare. He was so frantic with despair and furious with excitement. When it was over for a whim, he ran to tell the king, and being the reverse of slim, a 2-mile trot was not for him a very easy thing. So to reward him for his run, as it was baking hot and he was over 20 stone, the king proceeded half in fun to knight him on the spot. It was a great liberty to take. I fired up like a rocket. He did it just for punning's sake. The man, said Johnson, that would make a pun would pick a pocket. A man, said he, is not a king. I argued for a while and did my best to prove the thing, the phantom merely listening with a contemptuous smile. At last, when breath and patience spent, I had recourse to smoking. Your aim, he said, is excellent, but when you call it argument, of course you're only joking. Stung by his cold and snaky eye, I aroused myself at length. At least I do defy the veriest skeptic to deny that union is strength. That's true enough, said he, yet stay. I listened in all meekness. Union is strength, I'm bound to say. In fact, the thing's as clear as day. But onions are a weakness. That's Canto number 5. We'll be back with Canto number 6 tomorrow. We'll see you then.